Right, about time to turn the attention to football as we have the Chief Executive of the Ghana Football Association, Prosper Harrison ADDO Esq, the General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association. Good morning, sir, and thanks for the time. Really appreciate. We know you have a very tight schedule, and we appreciate your time to spend some quality time this morning with us. I trust you're doing well.
Yes, I am. Thank you for the opportunity as well to be here. Yes.
I know you returned from the CAF General Assembly over there. How did it go? How was it?
Oh, it was a successful CAF General Assembly. We had a lot of decisions being taken, and then also the draw for the World Cup. And so, all in all, it was a very successful one.
I see. Are there some highlights that you would want to share with us from the CAF General Assembly?
Oh, we look at as we do at Congress, we look at the accounts, we look at the budget for the following year and the plans laid down. And then also we, like I said, we conducted a draw. There were some positions which were up for election. We successfully went through that as well. And so in terms of governance will continue because there's no vacuum. And then at the sidelines, we had a number of meetings. WAFO B, the president and the general secretary had a meeting with the president of CAF. We also had a meeting among ourselves to look at the committees, standing committees that will work for WAFO B. As well as other meetings bordering on competitions, and so I think it was a good Congress.
Yeah, the FIFA president in his address of Congress also mentioned that the African Super League would start with 8 teams, possibly in the coming football season. I mean, that was all he could share with us. Not too sure if you have some other details to share with us when exactly it starts. Which clubs will qualify to play and the modality?
I think the CAF president indicated that the details will come, and he explained to us why the name had changed, and so we are expecting details from CAF, and then the preparation towards hosting the first edition, and then we'll progress from there.
Okay,
so details will come.
Why the change of name? And also earlier we were made to understand that it will be a 24-club competition. Now it is 8. Yes,
because the competition needs to start, and then it needs to start well. And so you need a number that is manageable to have the effect that you want to have in terms of the sponsorship, in terms of the positioning of the tournament itself. But the part of the reason why the name has changed is because of the Super Cup and the way it was received. And so the name had to change so that it doesn't carry with it all the bad omen that surrounded the name Super Cup in other jurisdictions. So that's why the name changed, and he explained that to the assembly.
Oh, okay. I see. Now let's come home. For almost 4 years, about 3 years, 9 months, you've been General Secretary of our Football Association. How easy or difficult has it been administering what drives the passion of people in Ghana?
Oh, it's been like every job. We are in position to find solutions, and so that's the work. And the General Secretary's work has been laid down in our statutes, so that is there. And then you go about your work diligently and make sure that the work is done. Challenging, we are a very passionate football country, and so sometimes the passion gets overboard. But these are challenges we deal with every now and then. Aside from that, in terms of the work, the governance side, we are doing very well. And football has evolved in terms of the governance area. There are reports we send to FIFA. There are reports we send to CAF. There are things we share with our members. And so every now and then we have engagements. Sometimes we do IT training, the membership come. So any discussion around the IT side is done through the training. And then we aim at continuous improvement. So each year we want to improve and do things better than we did the previous years. If we have enormous resources like others have, there are things that we could have done, but within the limitations of what we have, you just need to ensure value for money and manage your resources accordingly. So we have a strategic plan. There are 6 pillars of it that we work at. We also have, in terms of accountability and transparency, we have statutory auditors. Then we also have FIFA coming to do audit, what they call the central review. So the FIFA year is January to December. So after December, you have January, February to ensure that they'll send you a template the way they want the account to be done. You send it to them. And then each year they send a different, they appoint auditor to come, what we call the central review. By June, they would have finished. And then if you are in the clear, then all the resources you get and the support you get from FIFA comes. So when you see that we are getting support from FIFA, it's not automatic. Okay. There are key things, preconditions that you need to meet. One is the central review. And then even your audited accounts you have to give a copy to FIFA by the end of the 6 months after that period. And so, for instance, our accounting year is July 1st to June 30th. So after June 30th, so the season just ended after June 30th. So we have about 6 to 8 weeks to finish the accounts. The auditors will come in and audit. Immediately we get the audited accounts, we need to send a copy to FIFA. Now CAF is doing the same thing. So you need to send a copy to FIFA, a copy to CAF as well. And so FIFA gets both our statutory audit, and then they also get the central review. Okay. Based on which then all the things in terms of support can come. Even the FIFA forward, there are preconditions. So it's not automatic that you just apply for FIFA forward.
You have to meet the conditions.
Yes.
Okay. And then let me share with you that we're spending some quality time with the General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association. The show is big on your views, your thoughts, and questions are welcome through our social media platforms. Metro TV Ghana on Facebook, Metro TV GH on Twitter, and also our SMS and WhatsApp line 0548 009 000, 0548 009 000. The conversation will border on the various arms and angles of the Ghana Football Association, administration, women's football, our leagues, i.e. the Division 1 and Premier Leagues, coaching, national teams, and also Congress. Yes, a number of issues came out from Congress, the GFA elections, and also we are on the street, so we get to hear a lot of questions and comments on the street. So we'll try and put to the General Secretary some of the questions that we hear on the street. But let's look at administration. How well are we faring? What have we done? What changes has the Football Association seen in the last 3.5 years as far as administering our game is concerned?
I think a number of things have carried on, and then a number of new things have come to add on to it, and then we continuously improve things. So in terms of administration, we've strengthened the HR side of things. We've brought on compliance and integrity and compliance. We've done a master policy, which guides the way we do our policies. We've data protection. We are in good standing in that area as well. Don't forget that we collect a lot of data because of player registration. Okay. And so we work with the data protection and the things that needed to be done to protect the data we collect is done. Staff like every place of employment, I would have wished my staff is paid more. I'm sure it's the same here. Then, in terms of how we work, a lot has changed. Previously, we all know about the phenomenon called Accra Rep, and it's because when teams are sending things to the FA, they have somebody in Accra who will take it to the FA. Today, any clubs can sit anywhere in their office and then send things to the FA. All the clubs are using email system. Registration is done online. So the FIFA Connect is online. You can sit at the comfort of your office as a club and register your players without coming to Accra. Again, we have, throughout last week and indeed on Saturday, we are training clubs as to how to even do club licensing online. So the online platform training has gone on for our teams. We've done Premier League Division 1 and the women, because it will trickle down to the regional football as well. Division 2, 3, and the regional women's Division 1, and then coast football. And so administratively, we've done a lot. In terms of how we engage with our members, the teams, we introduced what we call the same-day service. You know, the teams require services from the FA. For example, if a player is going to another country and they want to go and get a passport, they need an introductory letter from the FA. In the past, it takes a bit of time. We introduce the same-day service. So if you are able to send it to us, the request to us before 3 o'clock on the particular day, and you've done it the way we've arranged things, you've done it in the same manner, you will get your letter the same day, which helps the clubs a lot. Again, if you want any assistance in terms of service from the Football Association, as a member, as a club, they will tell you, I don't need to say it, the clubs themselves will tell you that it has improved because you are likely to get it the same way, provided you have done it the way it should be done, because you need to show us that the player is playing for your team. Of course, we'll check the player has an invitation from a club, and then the team itself has written to seek for the letter, because many a times people would send an invitation from an agency, and then that one will reject it, because you see, we need to follow the FIFA protocols and the FIFA regulations. If a team, for instance, Chelsea, is inviting your clubs, there are responsibilities on Chelsea, so that the player will not go and be stranded. But if you come and then you are saying the player is going for trials, yet the player is going to an agency takes the player, and then they go from club to club trying to find a deal for the player. If the deal doesn't go through because they've spent money, in the past we've seen players go and then they are stranded. And then you can use the FIFA system to get some remedy of the situation. Because if it's Chelsea, FIFA can come in against Chelsea, because Chelsea is a member of the football family. But if it's a mere agency, some company that has been formed, sometimes individuals, and people want us to write introductory letters so that they get visa and go to individuals who will take them to clubs. It doesn't work like that. So that one, you will not get it. So all these things, when we get the opportunity through training, we explain all these things to our clubs. And so by and large, from where we have come from to now, you will see that all the clubs know exactly what to do, and we are moving very fast.
Speaking on administration, you mentioned the club licensing system.
Yes,
and I mean, people are appreciative of the fact that it helps streamline things, but there are also concerns from the clubs, especially those in Division 1, that it is putting undue pressure on them. You look at the economic situation, the revenue stream, and all of that, and clubs have to struggle to meet club licensing requirement. I don't know whether you are privy to some of these concerns and how you're dealing with them.
Yes. So in terms of club licensing, we have a number of pillars, 5 pillars. Okay. The infrastructure pillar is what normally people talked about, the stadium that we play matches. But we have the sporting, we have other criteria that, first of all, it starts from ownership of the club. So we need to see that you have registered. Ghana is a nation state with laws. We need to know that the club is a company registered with the registrar of companies. You have the document which clearly shows who the shareholders are, who the directors are, and then of course you give us management, the technical team, and the playing body. Now you select where you play. You see, once you select where you play, you must indicate to us that either you own where you play or you are in some form of agreement with the owner of where you play, because we don't want a situation we are playing league and then on the match day we come to the place and then the owner has locked the place because you don't have agreement with the owner. And so those are the things we look at. And then there are criteria. The place must be of a certain standard. Gradually we've been moving the standards up. We know the lack of infrastructure in terms of where we play. And so we've moved it gradually. We didn't just jump. But the thing is that I know we get judged because a lot of our people watches the EPL. And so sometimes they want to visit the EPL standards on us. But we push as much as we can, but we go gradually. And we know what the end game is. But if you say every club should play at a place of the EPL standard, we can't meet that. So we have to look at our local conditions and tailor it. I know for some clubs it's fine, but for a few clubs it's difficult. For instance, Greater Accra, we have Accra Sports Stadium, we have EWAC, we have Tema Main, which is Tema Sports Stadium, and then we have the Tema Newtown.
Even Tema Main, we understand that it will not be passed for the coming season.
We've not come to that conclusion yet. But the thing is that look at Greater Accra. Look at for Premier League and Division 1. Look, I've mentioned only 4. Even the 4, you are mentioning Tema, that the Tema Main may not. So then we are left with 3. And look at the number of clubs in Greater Accra. That puts pressure on the fields. So a case in point is Brekum. The Brekum Park hosts a Premier League club, 2 Division 1 League clubs. It's a game center for Division 2, which means that almost every day there's a match there. Yeah. It's also a game center for coast football. And Division 3 also plays there. So when the pressure is on the field in that manner, it's even difficult to get those who handle the field, to get the time needed to groom the field after each match. You look at some of the big clubs. If you go to their training grounds, they have a number of fields. So when they train here today, the next day they don't train there because the pitch has to be prepared for when they come back to it maybe the next week. And so we are not in the same kind of situation. So we will have some challenges there. But each year we try to move the bar a bit higher in terms of club licensing and the infrastructure criteria. That said, in terms of the ownership, these days you don't really hear about people fighting over a club because we've insisted and we've gotten to a point where all the owners of the club are known to the FA through the club licensing. We know the directors. There are people who go on radio and say they are a director of a club. So we know. So if I'm on the platform and you put that, I'll tell you that this person is not the director. Because per the document at the FA, we know. See, so club licensing is a unique tool that is used to improve the game we play. But I also, on the flip side, understand the challenges from the club ownership perspective, that it requires a lot of investment. Because if we say a pitch, currently Sunyani Coronation Park, in order for the Coronation Park to pass the test for a Division 1, a Premier League to be played there, it requires some work, and you see that some effort is being put in. Whether it will meet the standard when we get there, we'll see. But they know, because our club licensing, you see, club licensing is it's a two-way street. The club licensing manager is supposed to help the clubs appreciate the standard and help them. So if you are doing some work at your stadium, call the club licensing manager. He will come and look at it before you even start, so that you know that this place must be the safe zone for clubs where the buses can go.
Have we gotten to the point where clubs could be denied license if they fail to meet the requirements? Have we gotten to that point?
We've passed that stage, but the way we apply it here, we don't just get up and say that you will not get a license to play the league. Okay. Because we do a first. There are levels. So the first level, they come and they tell you that you can't play here if you don't change 1, 2, 3. So the clubs then go and change it. Where they cannot change it before the start of the league, they will move to a better field and play there till they get it done. Then they come back. Where you don't get it done, it means that you play at another venue. So what we do is that when we are asking you for a venue, we ask you for 2. We ask for your main field and the alternative, so that in case you cannot find the main cannot meet it, you go to the alternative. And even when the alternative does not meet it, we can take you to another field, because we know the challenges we face in this country.
From what you say, then infrastructure is a major problem.
It is.
But does the FA, I mean, from where you sit, do you reckon that infrastructure is a major problem, and what is being done to?
There is no denying the fact that infrastructure is a challenge. You notice that we've invested. What have we done
the last 3.5 years?
You've noticed that we've invested some of our money into building the technical center at Congo in Upper East.
Upper East, okay.
Yes, and it is because clubs in Upper East, when they qualify for Division 1 or Premier League, cannot play in Upper East. They go to Northern Region to play in Tamale or any other place. And so we needed to solve that problem and get a standard pitch that will meet the requirement. And that's what we have done. But you see, we announced this intention some years ago. In order to invest FIFA money on any pitch, you needed to own the land or have some form of a long-term agreement. So once we got that land, we needed to go through the process of registering the land, making it the property of the GFA. So we had to go through all those processes, finish, and you know land acquisition and registration in Ghana, there are processes. So you need to finish all those processes before you can put in the application. You see, so currently, if GFA wants to invest some money in the Tema field, we need to have some agreement in hand to take to FIFA. And that's why the FA president said that we will engage the ministry and the National Sports Authority to have that agreement. And once we get it in our hands, then we can invest FIFA money.
But what kind of agreement are we talking about? Is
so
it ownership? Is it ownership? Is it long lease?
Yes, a long lease.
What is the proposal?
A long lease. No, when we have that meetings, we'll see where which one government.
What are we looking at?
Any of the documentation that will enable us to invest in that field. So outright sale is one. Partnership, a long lease partnership that gives us the permission to invest in it per the FIFA requirements. Otherwise, FIFA would not invest any money in it. So key link to that is the pram situation. You see, during Go project, that requirement was not there in the Go project requirement. One of the key changes in the FIFA forward regulation is the ownership thing and the investment in infrastructure where the FA, the member association, owns the land. So that's why we needed to conclude the ownership documents for Pram before we can invest FIFA forward money there. And I'm happy that We've gone through the process. We've worked with the Mitchell family and the ministry, and eventually we have secured the 65.2 acres that we've registered, and then we can now invest in it. So for the people who said for the past 3 years you've not invested any FIFA money in Pram Pram, that is the reason. You can't just invest FIFA money.
Okay. Now, still on infrastructure. Now, we all admit that it is a major challenge.
Yeah.
Today, we see AstroTurf facilities scattered across the country, not just Accra. But you go here and you call club licensing manager, and it is said that it doesn't meet requirement. You talked about the pressure at the Brekum Golden City Park, game center for Colts Club, game center for Division 2. We have Division 1 matches, Premier, and it is not just Brekum and Accra. But we have Ghana Gas, we have GNPC, we have Koda, we have Wembley Sports Construction, we have Alaji Sinkaro, and his people constructing AstroTurf pitches across the length and breadth of Ghana. But it will be said that it doesn't meet the requirements for competitive football. Has the Football Association made any attempt to engage these people investing in this infrastructure so that it could serve a dual purpose? Their main reason for building these facilities may not be competitive football, maybe for community development, recreation, event center, and all of that. Have we made any attempt to engage them so that the pitches they construct could serve the dual purpose of whatever they meant, and then also for competitive football?
Yes, we have. Some of the parks preceded the coming into administration of the DCFA. So some, agreements are signed. It's just when the construction starts that you would see. So some preceded us. And since then, if you Google, you see that we even publish the requirement on our website. We've engaged. So there are some of the parks that we were involved. Some too have the challenge of space. So whilst maybe the person doing it would want a full standard park, the area that it was being done can only have the size of the community parks. And so we've made a point, and I'm sure going forward, some of them, because the last one I was involved in, Wembley Sports, there were two AstroTurfs he was going to do. We had to issue a letter giving the dimension and everything, which it tells me that has been accepted. And so those two, I can be sure it will be like that. Newtown, we were involved. I personally asked the club licensing manager then to go with them to go and look at the measurement and everything. So you see that the Newtown one too meets the criteria. And like you said, some are community. The objective behind it is a community-based park. But what we've seen over time is that the same community, after playing there for some time, when they see that the boys are doing well, would want to have a club that will play competitively. And so if the size of the place permits, I would urge that we'll do it a full size from the start, so that later on, when competitive football comes to the community, it can host the game. What we've done in terms of coast football, the coast teams play on them, and then some of the women's matches, because what we stated was that instead of the women playing, and the challenges back then, playing on the Sakura pitches, it is better to allow them, even though some of the pitches have challenge in terms of meeting the full standard. So the stadium itself meets the standard, but the size of the pitch is what doesn't meet. So we should allow them to play there, make use of the place, and then also afford the women a very good pitch to play their passing game and everything. So I think that going forward, we can only urge that where the size of the place permits, we should do the full standard size. And the size are available. We've published it and we've written letters to it. So anybody who is into pitch construction can always engage our club licensing manager. And there are a few of them that they call and then it goes to check. And we are available anytime to assist in that respect.
Okay. The Premier League and Division 1, women's football, what has happened with it the last 3.5 years?
I think we've seen some... First of all, bringing it back, and then don't forget when we brought it back initially, then COVID came, and then we had to cancel the first one. And after that, we played with our COVID protocols that we work very hard at, and for the COVID team of the state to approve. It was that league that produced House of Folk as the champions. The following one, the Asante Kotoko won, and then the just ended one, Mediema Sporting Club. And so we aim at continuous improvement. So each year we want to improve upon what we did the previous years. And so we've come a number of years now, 3 seasons continuously being compliant to the fixtures that we gave out. And then ensuring that we stay with the fixtures, and I think that the clubs are better off for it because then they know the fixtures and they can plan accordingly. In terms of Division 1, we saw the issues in Zone 1, so we had to decouple it, and we played, and we've seen that there's some improvement. I think we have to run it again, and then we can review it and see what we do from now on. Women's football, I think we've chalked huge successes there. It's on TV, and we make it available as much as possible. For that reason, a lot of our ladies are going out, which is good that they are going out. I know sometimes we look at it and we say we are losing too many stars too quickly, but it will reach equilibrium where you get some of the ladies going and then some also staying in our league. But for now, a lot of attention on our women's league across board from American schools, European teams. And so you see that a lot of them are going. And so currently, if you look at our queens, you see a lot of the ladies are coming back to play from their clubs. Last I was at the stadium watching their training, and this discussion came up in the stands. And somebody was saying that, but I only watched this lady last year, a very good player. Yes, you're Kwabruchi. I said, it's improvement. It means that qualities have been seen. Is
that a measure of how well our league is doing?
Not only that, the measure, not only that, but in labor economics, labor will go where the remuneration for the same services being offered are better. So the thing is that we need to produce more. Once we produce more, it will not be an issue. But we must explain to people that per the laws of the game and per the laws of this country, the FA cannot stop players from going abroad. So we must get that, we must end that debate. It is not a debate. Because you see, in every sector...
There are people that have said that, maybe there could be a rule that players must play in the league for a certain number of years before they are granted...
If you do such a rule and then somebody takes it to court, it will be quashed. It will be quashed because you see, you can't do a rule that impedes the movement of labor. Our laws will not permit it. So what we need to do is to produce more players. And that is why we are bringing the Juvenile Women's League. And it's something that we've worked at. And there's a small committee formed by ESCO. They bring their report and then we'll start. And you see that we introduce school sports in terms of the women. And then there's a whole campaign where we go to the schools, targeted at the young girls in the schools. We take football to them, we let them kick around and let them have a feel of it. So that for some of the ladies, young girls, they want to play, but sometimes they think the ball is too heavy. So at a very young age, if you give a ball, the same way we give a ball to a young boy and they kick around, we have to do the same for ladies, so that from infancy they will get used to it, that they can kick it around and we can get more girls. Because from what we've seen, we have the talent and we just need to harness this talent. And so a lot of work has gone into the women's football. There are a lot of initiative. We've introduced a new strategy because the other one ended at the end of this season. We are one of the countries where, in terms of officiating, our women's league is officiated only by women. Our MCs are only women, and so we need to train even more. So the Catch Them Young policy too is there. A lot of young girls have embraced it, and our age that these are our own sons and daughters. We must protect them, we must encourage them, and we must support them. Growing up, when you go to the playground, you get some of the young boys who want to be goalkeepers. You get some of the young boys and girls who want to be attackers, midfielders. There will be one boy among you who wants to referee. Such a boy too must be given the platform, and that's what the Catch Them Young policy is there for. And we must encourage that boy to become the best in the field that he's taking. So some of the boys, you talk to them, and one day they tell you they want to officiate at the World Cup. It is a collective effort from all of us to support them to achieve their aim. And so I urge that we protect them. When you go to a match and you see somebody overly shouting at these young people who are they are young, they will make some mistakes. It's for us or after the match. So that's why we have the referees managers. And that is key. And that is why the president announced that we would give some allowance to the referees managers. They do a lot of good work. They go around training these boys with the technical instructors we have at the regional levels, and the technical and then physical instructors. They train them. They go around. When they make mistake after the matches, they talk to them. They encourage them. They try to improve them. And it is for us to also stop those who go to the match and expect perfection from these young ones. And then they will shout at them. We must stop those ones and say that allow the young people to exhibit their skills. And after the match, you can also, as a father, as a brother, talk to the young ones, encourage them, and then improve them.
Okay, Catch Them Young is for the future. Yes. How about the older referees that are officiating in our leagues?
Yes.
What has improved with these referees over the years?
Yes, we've had improvement. You know where we came from in terms of bringing back the game after number 12. Number 12 was very profound in terms of what came out and what it did to our refereeing. But gradually, we've done integrity trainings each year. We've done a lot of refresher courses. We've had our own referee instructors with our referees training. We've had FIFA instructors coming in each year to train. We've had a lot of trainings. We've bought the gadgets for them. We would have wished at this stage we would have deployed the VR, but the cost associated with it, and it's not for want of trying. We've gone through all the stages with FIFA in terms of what needed to be done, the strategy and everything. But in order to go to the next step, there must be some commitment of some money, and the money is very huge. And you recall that at the FIFA Congress in Rwanda, the FIFA president himself said that the cost associated with VAR cannot be borne by a lot of the member associations. So the well-to-do member associations are doing, they've invested in the VAR and they are doing it.
I was going to come to that because the Football Association's president, Ketukeku, promised the implementation of VAR. At a function, he mentioned that in 2 years' time,
Yes.
we're going to
Yes.
implement the VAR
And
system.
it was a genuine
I'm asking
promise.
whether
So
it's going to
since
start
that,
with the coming season.
since that we've done all the work with the team at FIFA that works on this.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying, that we are at a point where now we are faced with the money to put in, and it's huge. And that's why the FIFA president said that the FIFA is looking at it. They've contacted a company to do a lighter version, what you call the VAR Lite, so that we can all benefit from it. That the cost of that will be very at a level that we can then
okay. So
purchase.
as we speak,
so we are the
Football Association is not in a position to bear the cost.
Yes,
of
it's
the VAR
huge. It's so huge. It's so huge, and we cannot implement it.
But at the time we considered, did we not know of the cost?
We knew of, we had a semblance of the cost, but not the full cost. So you needed to take all the steps, and then I know some people say that we can introduce our own version. Our own version means that the lines that the TV station draw on the field.
Sheikh Tofik is one of them. He said that repeatedly here. That
I've seen sometimes when we are doing the community football and then we put a TV there and then we do our own line and then we say that's a VAR. That's not the VAR we are talking about. We are talking about the full-fledged VAR. It requires a lot of...
But can we not start with that?
It would take all the stakeholders to agree that we should do that version. Okay. Because when you do that version, it will come with challenges. No, I don't like the posturing that let's do something. We all agree to do it. Then when it doesn't go well for someone, then say, it's been done to cheat me. You see, that's the thing. If you are doing VAR, then you have to do the correct version, which comes with all the rules, all the training and everything, rather than we rely on a TV. A TV station has its own software that they use to draw lines on their thing. It's not the same as the VAR. And if you deploy that one, then you must deploy it embracing all the challenges it comes with. You see? Okay. But if you can't deploy it and then turn around and condemn it. So if the entire football family say, let's start with this TV version rather than the full version. But FIFA assures us that they are committed and the people are working on it. And if the VAR lights come, I think all the associations, I know Ghana can afford that one. And then we can, because you see, we have limited resources. We can't put all our resources in VAR. And then other areas of the game is suffering. So that's why we have to take our time. And FIFA knows this. And we have discussions with them all the time. Because we went with them fully to the point where we realized that, look, we can't commit all our resources into one system and leave the rest of football.
How much allowance are we paying our referees now?
The referees are taking a net for Premier League, a net of 1,000 per referee. So for each Premier League match, we pay the 4 referees, the match commissioner, and the referee assessor 1,000 net. That's with the FA would, after deduction of the tax. Okay. So the FA will pay the tax. The Division 1 is 750. The women is the same.
Is this enough? Because I know sometimes some of them get subsidy on STC or they get free.
Yes, we have,
but not all the time.
Yes, we have.
So there's been situations where you have referees coming from WA to officiate a game in Tema or Akache. And you get the impression that the 750 may not even be enough for his transportation and accommodation.
Yeah, so we have a partnership. Okay. A number of things. We have a partnership with STC. So for those who apply the route of STC, they get 50% discount on transportation. Okay.
But even that, it is not all the time.
Yeah, it's not all the routes. And but for Division 1, we normally do it in such a way that the referees don't travel too far. Once a while, then they travel that far. For Premiership, they get their 1,000. The thing is that we've improved it to this level. The 1,000 we pay today See, when you look at it per a referee, it's 1,000. But if you look at it per match, it's 6,000. And then you pay VMO, you pay the cameraman. Sometimes you rent camera. So all comes to the cost of one match. So we multiply it by the number of matches we play, and then you see why in the past, every year, there is a backlog of payment of referee fee. So this time around, the agreement we have and the posturing is that every 4 matches we pay. And you realize that last year we did that excellently. And so that is why the president can confidently say that this year we would, again, I say continuous improvement. So we would improve again by going to the extent that after each match, we would pay. And don't forget now, we pay the referees directly. We have their details, and then we pay, and it goes to them directly. So again, step by step. We came from a certain point, and we've improved, and we are at a point where we can pay per match. So we will work at it, and this year we will do that. Part of the money that goes into refereeing, it goes into the training. So they will have their trainings before, and already the referees manager has sent them the outline of the number of trainings we'll do, instructor training, and then the referees themselves will have a technical training and then physical training. Of course, we'll do those tests that we do, and then we look at it. Again, we are even looking at going to the extent of getting professional referees. Professional in the sense that the referee becomes their sole occupation. The way it's done in the English Premier League, they have the refereeing company now for the Premier League, where they have a number of referees who officiate Premier League matches, and they are paid professionally to do so. And so it becomes their occupation, and then they dedicate. You expect that they will dedicate more time, more energy, everything into it. So we are looking at starting the pilot and see, select a few referees, and then find the resources. It requires a lot of resources to see to the start of it, and then we improve it year on year.
Okay, we are not at the point where we can afford VR, but how about the basic gadgets that will enhance officiating,
like the communication gadgets?
Communication.
Yes, we've
because in Division 1 until the last 2 matches, we never had the privilege of seeing communication gadgets being used.
No, so the thing is that we bought the first set. Funny enough, by the end of the season, even though training was done, people have destroyed them. You have to send it back for repairs. So we got them back this year. We got them back, and then we bought more. The thing is that we play 9 Premier League matches, 24 Division 1 league matches, and then we play 10 Women Premier League matches. If you add so 19 plus 24, you look at the number. It means that each match, if you are going to use the gadget, then look at the number we need to buy. So what we've done is that for all Premier League matches, the gadgets are there. For Division 1, there are matches that the gadgets will be used because we position them in a way that becomes available for usage. So for instance, Saturday, the gadgets can be used for Division 1 at Tema. If there's a match at Magdan on Sunday, the ladies can use it. But the thing is that sometimes you send it, and then the unless of it, one person uses today, there's a way you prepare it, and then you keep it for the next match. Some of them have not been kept well. So on Sunday, when another referee wants it, the gadget has not been charged. And it's somebody's responsibility to charge it. And so we've looked at it again, and then we'll deploy a different plan so that the gadgets will be available for more matches than we had last year. Meanwhile, we are looking at our resources and trying to bring more in. Because even when you have VAR, you still need the gadgets. Because it helps in the communication.
Producer just sent me this. Has referee Patrick Papala been banned for 1 year?
Yes.
He's been banned for what offense?
After the match between RTU and ASO Folk, I think what we have said is that the committee look at the matches on their own, but the clubs too can put in. We have a match official complaint form, so you can complain about referee or match commissioner or any participant of the game. So ASO Folk also complained, and this is not new. Along the season, various clubs have complained, and then it's been gone into. So that matter, and it's not about one offense. As of complain about a number of offense, the committee also looks at the tape, and then they would give the referee opportunity and engage the referee before decisions are made. Sometimes, in terms of adjudication, when you look at it, they may look at previous history during the season in terms of other offenses before they come out with punishment. I have not read the full thing, but what I know is that referee Papala has put in an appeal, which is a process.
I asked because, and
process within our regulation. Yes.
I asked that because, and I'm sure you have also heard a number of times that Asante Kotoko supporters will take to social media, will take to radio phone-ins and all to say that, this referee, this FA has issues with Asante Kotoko. There's a conspiracy against Asante Kotoko, and often they will cite example with how referees have had bad decisions against Asante Kotoko and the sort of punishment that is given to them. And when this issue came, they easily referenced an issue like Akumate's doubtful penalty that was awarded against Asante Kotoko. He was off for about 6 weeks and he returned. Then they juxtaposed that to Papala disallowing a good goal by Accra Hearts to
yes, because
and he's off for
for some strange reason somebody positioned it that is because of only the disallowed goal. You see, and when we do that and we don't check the full facts, I said that in punishing, you look at previous history, you look at other factors. So if it's your first offense, second offense, third offense, there are things that goes into adjudication in terms of the when you are sanctioning. So no two cases are the same. And when we do just a position of just these things that you pick from social media, and then you conclude that somebody is against one club, it is not true. I am the general secretary, and I deal with all the clubs. There are things we do with Kotoko that doesn't come in the opening. There are things we do for the clubs doesn't come in the opening. So when you pick one thing and then you juxtapose it with another, and then you conclude like that, it's not fair. It's really unfair. We support all our teams. When Kotoko does complain, the complaint the committee goes into it. So there are complaints that comes that is about one incident. There are complaints that comes and it's about 5 during the match. You can't compare 2 incidents, and sometimes it's the first time of the person, things like that. And so a lot of factors go into it. It's not a simple case of this incident and punishment, this incident and punishment. No. What I've told people is that we should let the young man concentrate on his appeal that is done. There's no need going into details of this and going into pushing the FA to come and answer something. Sometimes it doesn't help. Let the process take its course. We have the complaint form, we have the decision, we have a process of appeal. More importantly, process of appeal, which the young man has taken advantage of and has done his appeal. Let's allow the system to work instead of stampeding the process. So I think, and then when we do that, sometimes we are not fair to the issue and to other referees. You see, I saw how people then connected it to our referees in Cote d'Ivoire, to the extent that people actually believe the propaganda and wrote stories about the fact that our referees have been sacked from the tournament and they've come home and they've not done any match. which was a falsehood, and it's not fair when we do that to our own selves. So I don't think it's fair. Let's allow the process to run its course, and then we proceed.
Okay. Let's do some messages from which we will come to national team football. This one says that, good morning to you, Michael. Interesting conversation. I don't know why you have kept the tempo so low, but I like the demeanor of Prosper. His low tempo is making you also cool on the show. Okay. This one says that, good morning. It's been very educative this morning. Prosper is taking time to explain a lot of the issue. Please find out from him why he likes to stay in the office and doesn't come out to throw more light. It gives us a better appreciation of the issue, and sometimes it reinforms our position on some issues. Okay. Good morning, Michael. Greetings to you all in the studio, and also good morning to all UFC players and management members, including coaches. I pray as we start our preseason and won our first preseason match, the good Lord will see us through the coming season. A special good morning to the following. Okay, the man wants to turn the show into a dedication platform. This one says that, good morning. I love the bit you asked about Asante Kotoko. It is clear that this football association has issues with either Asante Kotoko or the management, possibly because of Nanayao and Ponsa. This one says that, good morning to you. There is a land in my town demarcated by my town planning for a football pitch. How do I get the FA to acquire the land and develop it? Kofi Abuaji Winiba. Okay, Prosper only spoke about Tema. I don't know if they'll be interested in taking your land and developing it. And this one says that, good morning to you, Michael. I think that Prosper has to speak on the national teams. It is really a challenge why this administration is not succeeding with our national teams. Okay, I just mentioned that we'll focus on the national team after these few messages. Good morning to you. Please, I'm waiting to hear his explanation of how Congress was conducted. For a number of us, it doesn't allow for us to find solutions to the many challenges confronting our game. Okay, I've also mentioned that we'll speak on Congress. Hello, good morning. Interesting and insightful conversation. Okay. Good morning to you, Michael. I must commend you for how professional you have conducted this interview. Some of your people conduct interviews as if they have personal fights with the people expected to answer the questions. Yours as journalists is to ask the questions, and we will deduce from the answers given whether they are true or not, and you have done just that. Okay. Thanks for the compliments, too. This one says, good morning, Mike. I beg, the low tempo won't improve our performance across all the national sites. They should do the right things. It's a build proper infrastructure and proper systems and coaching. This is Richie from Dansoman. Good morning to you, Michael. If infrastructure is a major challenge, why are we not channeling our funds into improving infrastructure, which will help the general good of the game, but rather giving the money to club administrators who know what to do before they formed their clubs, just because of votes? Good morning to you, and special good morning to Prosper. Please, are you not going to ask him about the petition? As the General Secretary, maybe he has more insight to share with us. Don't worry, all these things are coming up. Now, Prosper, let me, the national team. What explains the level of poor run of results with our national teams?
Club football.
Yes.
And administration. We've come from normalization, and we need to build the blocks again and go. So initially we had successes with the U20. Only that because of COVID, the World Cup was cancelled. We won the WAFU and we won the Africa with Barnier and Danlad and Co. The Blasters qualified for the AFCON, but did not do well in terms of the group stage, coming out of the group and then moving towards the cup. The other one was the World Cup itself. We we didn't go to 2018, but we qualified this time around. Again, we couldn't go beyond the group stage. We had some good games, but we lost to Portugal and then Uruguay. We won against Korea. Now on the ladies' side, too, we went to Costa Rica. So the U20 followed their qualification path to World Cup. The Queens, we had challenges. So in the Queens area, we were paired in zones. So we had to play against Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso before you qualify. Same for the youth teams. So among the 12 teams in our zone, one must qualify. So Nigeria pipped narrowly and had to qualify. Now we had to put in a lot of work and word with CAF that is not the fair basis of qualification. So I think with the latest one, you've seen that there's been some changes. And so that means that we will not have to play each other and then only one going. Then you look at the recent U23 and then the CHAN. The ministry, the FA, we did to the best of our abilities in terms of the resources. And I must comment that we had to take the team to Egypt. They were there away from the Ghanaian setting so that they can concentrate and train. And then the expectation was that they would do well at the tournament. It didn't happen in terms of the qualification and getting the trophy. For the Olympics, we wanted to qualify so badly to the Olympics game. I think that each of the teams and the things they give us in terms of the reasons. And so we just need to look at them. But more importantly, we need to be patient to build the national teams. If we rush too quickly, flowing from our history, that we must get a cap, we might not build well.
At what point did we realize this? Because we've been promising, being competitive, we've been promising. I remember when we were going to the World Cup, there were promises of a semi-final berth. So at what point
from the FA?
Oh,
sometimes the promises comes from Ghanaians, and then it is then to make it a FA promise. But we understand. We understand that we are Ghana.
Yeah.
So any competition you go in, I remember even in school sports, where FIFA was introducing, CAF was introducing this school sports. Straight away, somebody said, "Oh, as for our girls, when they go, they will win it hands down." I said, "Master, take your time. It's just school sports. They want the children to have a feel of the thing, and let's not build overly competitiveness into the thing. These are school children who they want them to be friendly. They will see their colleagues from other countries, things like that. If you win, there's some prize for it, but let's not put pressure on the children." So we need, key for me is that there's a realization that we need to work other than we are working when it comes to the national teams. We've just done the World Cup draw, and straight away you see Ghanaians saying that we're already in the US. The FA has not said anything. But you see, straight away. Because for me, from the draw to being in the World Cup, it's a huge work to be done in the middle. And that work requires all of us. And it requires the attentiveness, the patience, and the commitment of everybody. Moving the same direction, ensuring that the players, the technical team, the administrators, the supporters, all the stakeholders, the government, everybody, we are singing from the same hymn book and ensuring that we put our shoulder to the wheel and work. Is going to be, this World Cup is going to be a difficult journey for all the teams. Forget about the seeding. Forget I was at the draw.
We'll come to the World Cup, but
yes.
From where you sit, is that the general admission that there seems to be a downward trend of our national teams? And if there's that admission, what are the steps to fixing it?
So, our aspirations as to where we want to take our national teams have not been achieved fully. So you pick the building blocks. Is it coaching? Is it the way we prepare? Is it, I know people don't like to talk about remuneration to players, but is it that one? Or is it the time it comes? Or is it the figure at play? Is it the way we play? Is it the commitment? So we have a list of things to look at and to work at. Every Ghanaian and the reason they give you. As administrators, you need to look at everything. You don't leave anything aside. So there is no one thing. Because the reason why maybe the Queens did not qualify may differ from the reason why we did not do well in AFCON, even though we went to a training camp and we want to prepare very well for the AFCON. The World Cup preparation was solid. On the field, we saw some good things, and then we saw some things too that can be improved. So you need to look at everything, and you need to plan and work hard at improving all our national teams. Even if we had won the World Cup, we still must plan better next time. And so for me, the work at hand requires that we are diligent and all of us, because if administrators work perfectly and players and coaches don't work perfectly, we won't go anywhere. So we need everybody in
But on the streets, the FA is widely criticized for overly influencing player selection, especially at our aged national teams.
The last time I heard, they said it was at our senior national team. So the accusation keeps moving. The coaches go around, pick players, take them to camp, prune it down, and then get to a number that can then play. What I've noticed that when the team is in Pram, nobody goes there. Nobody goes there. When we even fix matches for the teams, preparatory matches, and they come to the stadium, I'll be at the stadium, and you can count the people there watching the national team play a friendly match at the stadium. I mean the junior national teams. And all of them, we let them play at the stadium so that people come and also encourage them, have a look at them. It's just that people are distant away and then they throw allegations. I don't think that helps us. And then we position players against players. The coaches will tell you, me, I don't talk to a coach about players. Even though I've been in football from infancy, I've done a team. I don't do that. The players
Maybe you
they
don't
select.
have a club, so you don't have an interest.
When I see a player that I feel is good, I also know the people who throw the allegations. Most of them don't have clubs, but they have an interest in the people selected, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but sometimes,
a typical example is the Black Meteors team.
The Black Meteors, U23.
The U23.
Yes.
And when the 29-man provisional squad was named, people were quick to trace where these players were coming from. And even on this show, people raised issues that, okay, what about 4 people or 5 people that were directly to the team? You count as many as 7, 8 players that were coming from.
You see, when we do that, let me pick a typical example. Until somebody tried to play games with a player of the U23 about age, then people realize that the very thing they've posted, the jersey the person was wearing was from Wafa. I noticed that there was an argument on one of the shows that, so they don't call Wafa player. Meanwhile, the very player the same person was complaining about came from Wafa. Just that he left Wafa to another team before traveling abroad and before he's been called to the U23.
Okay.
You see? So when you want to personalize things, then you forget the genesis of the player. So a player may have, this player from Asofoku went to Kotoko. People forget that he started from Wafa before coming to another team, before Asofoku, before Kotoko. So sometimes we leave the genesis of the player. That player they were talking about was registered by Wafa before leaving to Vision, before going abroad, and before coming back to play. The thing is that you hear complaints about, and it's just allegation about the people in administration influencing selection.
Yeah.
Up to today, nobody comes to give any concrete evidence about it. That's number one. But as a nation, anytime a call-up is done, remember Nigeria.
Are we also not concerned? Do we have
we
to
are
wait
concerned.
for
No, we are concerned.
outsiders to bring evidence before we try to make inquiries into
No,
this?
so I'm coming to that. Why did we wait before bringing out the list for Ghana, Nigeria? One of the key things was this. Immediately a list is called, then each of us as citizens of this nation, we are passionate about our football.
Yeah.
If I give you the chance to call the Black Stars squad for the September game, your list will be different from mine.
Certainly.
And my list will be different from another person's list. So we have to factor that into it, that the coach, his list will be different from your list. The fact that he's called a player that you wouldn't have called doesn't mean he's doing something wrong. He knows the system is going to play. He knows what he's looking out for in the players. He knows the players he needs for his team. Sometimes we have watched matches and we've seen one or two players. We feel that they should be in the team. We can make that argument. But let's not make it like the coach has deliberately or hated the player who has not been called. Because next time, the player may be called. I remember Pencil, when he was not called. People made it seem like the FA officials have a problem with the boy. Meanwhile, we were the same people talking to the people who have not talked to the boy, went on radio and said that they have spoken to the boy. And the boy said the FA hated him. When we rather were in communication with the boy, calming him down, that, look, the coach has made his selection. Unfortunately, you are not in it. Please, you calm down. Continue to ply your trade, continue to shine.
The president in the past said that the era where one person was going to be responsible for collapse of players into our national teams was over.
That tape.
Yeah.
I was challenged on the show, and I challenged them to play it. When they played it, the paraphrasing of that tape is always wrong.
Okay. So
he just went through the process when the coach selects players. And it's not new. And he didn't say that he will call up players. The tape is still there. People can play it again. Because when people try to paraphrase, then they paraphrase it to the disadvantage of the FA president, as if he said he would select players. No.
Okay.
The tape is still there.
A quick one on the national teams and then coaching, and then we'll do a quick break and come and wrap up in 10 minutes. Now, one of the concerns also has to do with recycling of coaches. So that, let's say, Abdul Karim Zito does not qualify the under-20 team for AFCON, and that means automatically missing out from the World Cup. He's moved from there, and then he's brought to under-17.
I think it's a wrong example you've given.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, he's moved. I mean, we move from one team to the other. Would have Ibrahim Tanko go and fail. He's moved to local Black Stars, quickly shifted back to under-23. Dr. Prosper Nateogum will go with the local Black Stars, fail. He's said to be the head coach, and then Didi Dramani will be moved to Black Stars. There seem to be. I mean, the concern is that over the last 3 years,
these are facts,
the FA has worked with a smaller pool of coaches who are not getting
rather a bigger pool.
Getting us the results.
Rather a bigger pool.
How?
So let's take that's why I say it's a wrong example. It was Kozito who won the Waffle.
Yes.
And then won with Bani and was going to the World Cup. And it was COVID that cancelled it. So it didn't fail.
No, COVID canceled the World Cup.
Yes. And then he went to the next one, which he didn't qualify.
And that is the reference I'm making.
But you see,
I'm not picking on the individuals. Yes,
I'm also using it to build the example. Coach Tanko went with the team to Egypt.
Yeah.
They came fourth. We needed to be first, second, or third to qualify. He came fourth.
Yeah.
Okay. So the notion for some people was that let's change him. And another school of thought said he may have learned
the lessons
a lot from the Egypt U23 experience. Let us allow him to coach again and deploy it, and he will go further.
Okay.
Where we can qualify. Unfortunately, it didn't work. You see, so it's not like deliberate recycling. No.
Okay.
Each appointment has some objectives and then some analysis attached to it.
Okay.
You look at, I say a bigger pool because currently you look at all the national teams. We have a lot, and every national team would have some even former player. I know that there's been talk about the fact that now we don't talk to the former player. It's total falsehood. Check the national teams. The U23, we had Ablade Kuma there, and I can mention the names, plenty. So Atram was there. Tanko himself, you see, sometimes we forget. Tanko himself is a former player.
Okay.
Yes. Look, what we've done is that in terms of our coaching education, we've done a lot of training, and we brought a lot of people into the pool. Now, when you go from the coach level, first, anybody who is enthusiastic about football coaches at the coach level without any training. Now we've trained across the country, so every coach club is being coached by a licensed D holder. Okay. These things, the rewards will come later.
Okay.
The third division, second division. You look at the lines. We were not running the courses from 2017. Currently, we are running all the courses with the exception of A, which CAF is yet to give us. But we've sent our curriculum, we've sent everything. We're waiting for the course to be approved, and then we'll do license A. So we have more coaches coming up, but we have what's happened is that within the space of some 18 to 2 years, we lost a lot of our experienced coaches.
Okay.
They left us.
Yeah.
So we are now building another set. And the FA president, as he said, we are investing in taking some of our coaches abroad to learn. And I'm sure when we are committed to that, and then we invest more in our people, because you see, there's a school of thought who says that just bring foreign coaches to take over. We can't have that too as well.
Okay.
So we have to improve
on Metro Sports. We're having a conversation with the General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association. We're sprinting to the climax of the show, but let's do this quick break. When we return, we still have Congress, GFA, elections, and the petition against the president to talk about. Sports with me, Michael Kofi Odro. We're still having an exclusive conversation with the General Secretary of the Football Association. Your association has been or was criticized by some of your Congress members and also a section of the media and consumers of football for the way Congress was run, the 29th Ordinary Congress. Now, at what point did we get to this way of doing business at Congress?
We've done Congress this way since 2019.
Okay.
We've done Congress this way. Don't even go to 2019. Look at the previous Congress before this one.
Yeah.
It's the same. Nothing extraordinary happened in Congress in Kumasi.
Okay.
This is the way we run Congress.
But for those yes. that criticize, they say it does not allow for your members to contribute to football development because issues are not deliberated on, counter motions are not allowed and all
No,
of that.
counter motions were allowed. The documents, the convocation was sent to members. per the regulations, we met all the provisions, the compliance requirements of the provisions, and the members know what to do if they have a counter motion.
Okay.
Yes, the fact that a member didn't send a counter motion doesn't mean that they don't know how to send a counter motion.
Okay.
It means they don't have a counter motion to send. Again, if you come to Congress as an observer, you are an observer. You are not a member of that Congress. So this thing about somebody storm out, the person is not a member of the Congress. So when if you go to Parliament, if I go to Parliament, I can seek permission. I'll sit at the observatory. I'll watch Parliament. At the point that I want to go, I will go. It doesn't mean that something untoward has happened in Parliament. Nothing. The membership of Congress were there. They partook in everything we did. I was at the General Assembly of CAF. The same process. I have not heard a single Ghanaian complain about the process.
Because we're not there.
No, but it was shown. It was shown in Ghana. 2 TV stations showed it. The FIFA Congress, the same. If you have, and the CAF president, at each item will say that we've sent a convocation, we've not received anything. That's it. Then
okay, it is said that New Edubiasi through a chief executive, Alex Akume, wrote a counter motion.
No, he did not write a counter motion.
He did not write.
He wrote expressing a concern
about
election, which I responded to initially.
So it promised not as if a counter motion was moved and was not brought to the floor of Congress.
In fact, the letter he wrote, he even told, even the last line said that we should answer by 3rd July.
Okay.
So it wasn't meant for Congress.
Okay.
Please, people should get it right.
Continue
so
on the
I replied that, and I also wrote a written statement. Yes. And I have not heard him complain about it.
When are we going to have the roadmap for Congress? Because people have expressed concern.
It's here, so don't worry about it.
It's where?
I mean, it's time it will come.
But
so it's not far away for people to worry.
But there are,
because we
people
told
are
Congress,
worried, and people feel that
which people? Wait. First of all, which people?
Consumers of football, some members of Congress.
Okay, no, because we said it in Congress.
Okay, that it will come.
Indeed.
I mean,
no.
Okay, let me.
There was clarity. So wait, even
class.
a Congress member, my brother and friend Eloy Amande, even explained this.
But so the Football Association has about 3 months to mark exactly 4 years of being in office. Do you not think that it will be fair, especially for people with the intention of running for the election?
People for the intention of running election.
That at this point, we would have a clear roadmap. Because there are people who
feel
that
wait.
The delay is to favor incumbency.
Wait. Please explain to me, how does that favor anybody? People who people who want to stand are campaigning. Even at the Congress ground, people were campaigning.
Yes, but it is not the level of effort and energy that will go into it will not be same as when they know that the nomination will be opened on this date, filing ends on this date, election is on this date.
Yes,
and I heard you this morning say that you have actively participated in student politics. So you know that when the specifics are there, the level of energy that goes into it is quite different from when
I'm saying that, look, this thing started with people saying that the roadmap has delayed and that in 2019, the roadmap came in January, which was a falsehood. In 2019, the roadmap was published on the 12th of September for an election that was held on 25th October.
But we're not in normal times at the time.
We're not in normal times?
Yes, at the time.
When
that was during the period of normalization. So
I'm talking about a situation where somebody is referring to the fact that it was published in January.
Okay.
Knowing very well that it was a falsehood. It was published 12th of September. And the story is still on City online. It's on GFA. It was a lot of so you see, this thing of stampeding and putting a lot of falsehood there to create a situation as if somebody is doing something untoward, please. It's not the best.
Okay.
We have said to our Congress members that they will have it. Yes, and I'm telling you that it's not like.
But when do we expect to have the roadmap?
The roadmap is not that important then that we have to herald the coming of the roadmap with some announcement.
Are you saying that the roadmap is not important?
I have not said that here.
No, you just...
No. I said people are making the roadmap to seem like we have to usher the roadmap in with some pageantry and some
Have you seen the petition? Have you seen the petition against the president?
No.
The supposed...
when you say sin, are you talking about the fact that the person has written to the FA?
No, it was to FIFA, and if you read the document, a copy is supposed to be served the FA.
No,
but the press, okay,
in the petition, copy was not served to the FA.
But I'm sure you have seen the document. In all honesty, have you seen the document?
No, when you say that, then look, we have to be
okay,
we have to be clear.
But in the petition, what is clear is that there are series of allegations of the president appointing family members, close relation of even your name was cited in the petition.
Yeah, that people have called and people have called and said.
As the CEO of the Football Association, what do you make of those allegations?
I think it's insulting. I think insulting. And I've said it already. Because if you look at me, you look at what I've done in football, you look at how I became the general secretary. It was open, it was published, journalists followed it. When I went to my interview, there were journalists there. So for people to then say that you are occupying a position merely because of friendship.
Not just yourself, but there were several
names,
more than 15 names.
I said people have talked to me about mine. Okay. So that's what I'm responding to. And that is what I'm saying is insulting. I'm not talking in general terms. I'm talking about mine. Because people call me and said that, oh, you are occupying the position because of your friendship. And that's what I said. It is insulting. It's not nice. Because you see, especially because we went through the stages. And I was in I've been in football all this while. And there is not a single person who stood that election that I didn't know before.
Okay. Now,
so unless people are saying that friends...
You know the FIFA standards and ethics. Do you think that petition has got substance?
I have not seen the petition.
Okay. Finally, this is the final one and then we wrap up. The president, Keto Kweku, has put himself up for re-election. He made that announcement at Congress. Will you endorse him? Do you think that with what he's achieved the last 3.5 years, he should be given another nod to continue?
I'm not in the position of endorsing. Those who endorse are the members of the FA.
But do you think he deserves another term?
I'm the General Secretary. I'm not in the position to...
Thank you very much, Prosper ADDO, yes. General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association, and Michael Kofi Oduro. We're thankful that you made time to join us today. We're hopeful that the grace will continue to keep us. So tomorrow, same time, at 10 a.m., we're back with another edition of Metro Sports. You do have a blessed week.